I'm Robin, and this is Troy,
Hello.
and welcome to Never Too Blank. This is our channel that we are starting because we want to put positivity out there in the world, and we want you to know that you're never too anything. Don't put limitations on yourself, and don't put them on others. Live the way you want to live. So we hope that you like this video, and we would appreciate it if you would support the channel by liking, subscribing, and commenting. So today we're actually going to go down a pretty interesting road.
For sure. All the roads will be interesting. This is basically first video, the thoughts. We kind of went over a lot of different topics. We're going to have so many different things to discuss over time. But the thing we kind of agreed on today, and it has special meaning because of today, is of short-term rentals. We've had a short-term rental for the last 5 years, and that's one of the things that we want to talk about today, is to give you some of the insight, backdoor information on what's really going on with short-term rentals.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've had the short-term rental for 5 years, and we've had it with VRBO, Airbnb, Booking.com, and Furnished Finders. And during that time, we have learned a lot. There's a lot of pros and cons in hosting a short-term rental. And the thing is that a lot of times people don't want to talk about what goes on behind the scenes. They would just always want to make it sound like they're just, killing it, and or that it's super easy and you should do it too. And you know what? It's not as easy as you would think. A lot of people come to us and they're like, "Oh, I've thought about doing that. I'm going to get an Airbnb." First of all, you don't get an Airbnb. Airbnb doesn't own the property. We do, okay? So you're putting it out on there for short-term rental through these platforms, but it's definitely not an Airbnb. I'm not going to give them credit for my property. But it's definitely something that we've enjoyed doing. So today we want to talk to you about the pros, cons, and most importantly, why we're no longer doing it as of today.
God knows there have been so many pros and some cons too about it over time. I keep petting the puppy dog down here. That's why I keep looking down, because she wants all the attention.
We have a foster dog, Luna, today, and she's been with us for about 7 months. So I'm going to try to see if I can possibly get her on camera. Of course, you're petting her, and I see dog hair.
She don't get no camera time today. No camera time for me.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I'll make sure I get her in the video. So we're going to go ahead and we want to talk about the pros, cons, why we're no longer doing it, and we want you to stick around till the end. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but at the end we are going to give our top 5 PG stories of our
let's keep them PG.
Yes, of our Airbnb experiences, and I think all of those were Airbnb experiences.
And mention in the comments any questions that you might have that we can't discuss on camera. We'll certainly tell you.
Or any
we'll give you all the information.
Yeah, if you've thought about doing an Airbnb, VRBO, any of those kind of short-term rental things, let us know, and we'll definitely comment back to you. So
definitely.
So first we'll talk about the pros.
I'd say one of the pros probably is just learning the hospitality industry. I personally had no idea what it took what hotels and what cruise ships and some of the things that they go on behind the scenes as far as cleaning, making the property prep for folks, making it ready, just doing some of the stuff that you don't know about until you dive in.
Absolutely. Oh, and going through that with the pandemic, that's something that's a whole nother level too, because for anybody that was doing short-term rental before the pandemic or after the pandemic, but not during the pandemic.
Right. Cleaning requirements just fell off they went through the roof on what was required. And we believe she's a lunatic as far as cleaning and how she wants everything clean. And so am I when it comes to the property. You don't want anything hairs or any strange stuff at your property when you check in, and it's just makes it kind of weird. So a lot of pros, like I say, a lot of cons too.
Yeah. So, learning the hospitality side of it, getting an appreciation for whenever we go and we travel and we stay at Airbnbs. In fact, we're going to be at an Airbnb in Spain later on this month. And so we really enjoy being able to go to short-term rentals and get that local vibe, which is what we tried to offer at for our guest. But just learning what goes into it, getting a property ready. Our check-in was at a...
She didn't brag on us first off, we were Superhosts for the whole entire 5 years.
5 years,
4.96, I think, was a rating for us, over 300 reviews on platforms. So it was... not one person saying it, everyone said. That's just the brag for a second.
Yeah. No, we did, but it was a lot of hard work. It really was. But yeah, so getting into it and just seeing what what it takes. So a lot of times people stay at these things and they don't think that the host is doing good enough. Or one of his pet peeves is that we'll get a great review. The person will be in the comments, they'll be like, it was fabulous, it felt homey, they gave me everything I needed, it was
better than my house.
incredible,
It was
better than my
at
house,
home.
4-star. What?
Well, fortunately, we only had probably 6 of those.
Yeah,
over
not many,
5
but
years.
we were like, okay, it was incredible. You used the word incredible, but then 4-star, and I'm like, okay, sure. But anyway, so like one of the things that we did learn about is I know with hotels, you have many different rooms in a hotel. If you get there a little early or your room's not ready, they can switch you to another room. Whenever you're staying at a short-term rental, that's usually it. I mean, unless you got a duplex kind of situation or something where they own both sides, or a little quadplex or something, typically that house is all they have, or that's all they have in that area, or that's all they have that's available that you booked. There's no flipping it out. So you have to make sure that house is ready for the guest.
How about this? Everybody wants an early check-in and a late check-out.
That's a whole nother story too. Seriously, the number of people. Our check-in was at 2:00, okay, which is a much earlier than check-in than a lot of them. Some of them would have a 3, sometimes even 4:00 check-in, and then our checkout was at 11. I've seen 4:00 check-ins and 10:00 checkouts, and we only had ourselves a 3-hour window. Keep in mind, our Airbnb short-term rental was 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage. It was a really reasonably sized house. It wasn't overly large, but it did have a lot of rooms in the bathrooms and the kitchens where you really got to make sure you get in and scrub. You're having to change bedding, comforters, vacuum everything, couches, wipe everything down. Like, it was so
sterilize
much. So
everything.
we only had a 3-hour window in that 2:00 or 2 p.m. check-in and 11:00 check-out. And there were people that they literally wanted to check in early, and then a lot of those same people wanted to check out late, and we're like, oh, so you want to be here when the other guest is here? Are y'all going to clean? I mean, it takes a lot to clean that size of a house.
Yep.
Those 3 hours, sometimes we could get in the 2.5-hour range and have a little bit of a buffer. But if the guest left it messy, or it was a time that we had to do even more deep, thorough cleaning, like baseboards and stuff like that, it's just not something that you can really push. And so whenever you've got people that are asking for late check-ins or early check-ins and late checkouts, or just haven't left when they should have, it just makes it difficult. So we're getting off into the cons while we're trying to talk about the pros. So anyways, the pros of learning, that's a big pro. Another big pro is, just like with any rental, somebody else is paying your mortgage.
Right.
Somebody else is paying down your equity in your house. Hopefully you're coming out with a little bit of profit at the end. It's just, that's obviously a big pro. We had this house for 5 years. We had it on a 15-year mortgage. For now, a third of the mortgage has been paid by somebody else,
Right.
so
More than that, actually.
So that's kind of a big deal. Now, as of today, we are no longer short-term rentaling it. We are actually going on a long-term rental,
Right.
and so we're still going to have somebody in it. We're just going in a little bit a different direction, and part of the reasons why are the pros and the cons together. But what are the pros?
There was a pro.
I know.
We
I'm just
were on pros.
saying. What other pros can you think of?
Actually, another pro is some of the people that we've met through the booking.
Yeah.
We had some incredible people stay at the place. Some people stayed 3 times. We've had
Repeaters.
athletes. We've had celebrities from shows and so many different. It just contacts that you meet people from different parts of the world. We've had people from everywhere: China, Afghanistan,
yeah.
Japan, Norway,
London, yeah.
all over the world had people to stay at the property. So it was a good learning experience. Met a lot of people and just some contacts. Still in contact with some of those people even now.
Yeah, that's definitely a good
Right.
thing. I think the time that we spend together,
Yeah.
because whenever we first got the Airbnb, we weren't living together yet. So oddly enough, that was actually our quality time. We'd go clean the Airbnb sometimes together, and that's oddly how we spent some time together. I mean, I know we're kind of a weird couple, but anyway, so just going over there, spending time together, and it was essentially located. We're in Houston, Texas,
Right.
And it was centrally located. So one pro was great, is that we always knew where we could go and park our car.
Right.
If it wasn't booked up, we could park there, and then Uber over to an event. That way we didn't have to deal with
I
parking.
can stay there overnight so I can golf right down
Yeah,
the street the
yeah.
next morning.
And we have family in the area.
Right.
Oh, that's another big pro. Is
Yeah.
that during the time that we were short-term renting it, because it was kind of open, whenever our family came in from out of town and
Right.
out of country, they were able to stay there a few times. In fact, during the pandemic, his daughter stayed there for like a
Right.
month because nobody else was.
Month and a
Everything
half.
got canceled.
Month and a half, I think.
Yeah, so she got to post up there, and so that's kind of a nice little pro, was having that location there that we knew
Right,
that we
right.
could always
Yeah,
go
that's
to.
pro that we have some place that we can go to. Now, fortunately for us, it was always booked most of the time, so
Yeah, yeah.
we didn't get to take advantage of it as much as we would have possibly liked to.
We thought we would stay there ourselves. We never did.
And
I
well,
think,
at some point
you know,
we might still. At some
Yeah.
point we might move there.
At some point, yeah, because we are planning on probably moving there eventually in a few years. So that's definitely something there. Let's talk about the cons.
Well, we only had a few stay there.
Those were ex-cons. Yes.
Yes, I mean.
Oh my. Okay. The scheduling conflicts, I think, for like whenever we'd have to go over there and handle things that maybe we were off doing other things, or it was just inconvenient to have to go over there and take care of some things.
It's just with any property, at some point you're going to have AC is going to go out, or you're going to have a toilet backup, or something's going to fail.
Yeah.
So we've got a pretty good contractor that we use, a handyman that takes care of a lot of those items. But a lot of them we hands on. We'll go take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Might have somebody that a little bit extra weight might mess up one of the
Oh
beds
yeah,
or something.
one of our beds broke.
That's a different
And
story
then the
too.
person didn't tell us that it was broke, and so the next guest that stayed there, she didn't realize that it wasn't completely broke, but apparently it was almost broke, and then it broke while she was there, and then she didn't tell us.
Heavy weights.
Yeah, it was just kind of crazy. I think one of the cons that I'm thinking of is the people that can't follow directions.
Simple
So,
directions.
Simple directions. So we have a garage on our house, and we did have access to the garage for our guests, which was great. It was a big perk
Right.
for having our short-term rental. But the garage backs up to a communal alleyway where all the garages face in the same direction. So it's not a place where you're supposed to park. And the number of people that just thought that they could park in front of the garage, even though they're blocking the way of the other neighbors getting in and out. So we finally had to put up a sign. And even with the sign, we had people do it. Had somebody change their oil in their ATV or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
out
one
there.
of the, but it's so many
And,
stories over
you
the years.
know,
So many stories.
But like I said, and the smoking. The smoking is probably, we had some people leave the house really messy, a few really filthy. Fortunately, very little actual damage to the property,
Right.
but we did have some
Right.
very disrespectful people.
Right.
So whenever you get in there and you're thinking that you're just going to clean the house, and come to find out you've got to clean up after them like it's a frat house before you can even start cleaning the house, it's a little bit disappointing. But for me, the smoking, the number of people that smoked in our Airbnb, and not just legal substances, was very disappointing. You know, if you want to act that way at your house, then you need to act that way at your house. Don't do it at somebody else's house.
Right.
It's disrespectful. We have a very short window, like I discussed, about getting it cleaned up, and then we have to now turn on these ozone machines to get the smell out, and that's additional cost. We have to call somebody out to do that.
Right.
And that takes up time because nobody can be in the property during that time. Now the dog's going to play with her toy. Just so you know, she's back there playing with her toy. So I think that's it. The not being able to respect people's houses that some people do, that disrespect is a little frustrating. I think that's definitely a con, because I want to hope that people can have respect for other people, and we did see a lot of opportunities where people did not have respect.
Right. And now I guess the biggest reason would be why.
Oh, why we're no longer short-term rental. She's going to make her appearance now. Huh? Hi, Luna. Anyways, so the main reason why we're no longer putting this as a short-term rental are those things. After 5 years, we did get a little disenchanted with that side of it. The good guests were good, the great guests were great, but the other ones that weren't, it just got to be too much. We'd go over there, and just the things that they would do, and it just got to be just too inconvenient. And we decided that after 5 years, we basically had enough. It wasn't something that we planned to do. We didn't plan to do it for 5 years, and we didn't plan to quit. We literally made the decision kind of on the fly this year. And the other reason we decided to do is we're traveling a lot more now. We have plans to travel a lot now.
Which will be one of the topics in this channel.
Well,
That's going to be
yes.
one of the major
We've
topics in the
started
channel.
cruising, camping. We're going to do house sits at other people's houses, so I'll be putting out videos on that. I actually have a video that I need to cut down and do it. I only stayed at the place like 4 months ago, and I still haven't done the video.
So many videos.
But yeah, so what we're doing is we're putting in a long-term plan for us to travel directly into our retirement. And by doing that, we're going to do all kinds of forms of travel. A lot of people will stick with one or two things. We literally want to do it all. And I never would have thought that I would have gotten to a place in my life where I did not want a home base to live at the majority of the time. Now I want to get to the place where my home base is just a place I visit. Like, I'm not going to be home here. I'm just going to be visiting, and I'm going to be home the rest of the world and exploring and doing things. We're very active people, and we want to be able to really take that into our older years. I'm 52.
I'm not saying all the time. I'm like, what
Okay.
am I like? No, I'm 56.
But at our age, we really want to maximize how we feel. We don't know how long we're going to live on this earth. We don't know how long we're going to feel good in our bodies, but we want to stay as strong as possible, and we want to see the world. So in us doing this, we have plans to work remotely. I actually do a lot of what I call workcations, and that is where we go on vacation, but we're not really on vacation because we have to work. We're both self-employed, and that's not counting this YouTube channel because this ain't paying us crap. I don't know if or when it's ever going to pay us any money. This is just for fun and for sharing things. But hey, we would like to make some money eventually. But
Like
really,
and subscribe.
yeah, exactly. But with our jobs, we're able to work remotely, and with now Wi-Fi being everywhere, even on the cruise ships. Thank you, Elon Musk, for Starlink, because hey, I got to give props. Because that right there has been a game changer. I tried to work on a cruise ship before Starlink, and it was frustrating, it was slow, it was stressful, and then after Starlink, it was just a game changer for us. So that is why we're doing this. I know the dog is drinking, but that's why we're doing this, is that we are getting everything ready so that we can start doing more videos. We can show people how to learn how to travel and work in a different way, and hopefully we're going to inspire
Right.
people
And
in our age
right,
group
from,
to do
from the
this.
experiences, we're speaking from actually having done this stuff, and some of it to come here shortly, and more later than we have in the past.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So that's why we're go ahead and turning it into a long-term rental. And I'm not going to say that we would never have a short-term rental again. There's always a possibility. I don't like the word
Situational,
never.
yeah, situational. I mean,
Never.
something could happen. It
Yeah,
could happen.
anything could happen. But as of this point right now, I don't see a time whenever we're going to do
We're
another
both
short-term
very
rental.
comfortable with not having it right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really great. So, so yeah, those are the pros, the cons, and the why that we're no longer doing it. Now, let's talk about our top 5 stories. So, technical malfunction here. He dropped his mic. Okay, and break. So, crazy story number 1. Now, we're going to give you these stories. We would like for you to put in the comments which of these stories do you think are the craziest or the coolest, whatever the case may be, out of these top 5
let's
stories.
be clear. The craziest story she doesn't even know about. Some of the
Okay.
craziest stories.
Well, maybe he keeps a lot of that from me because I don't have much patience for
Craziness.
certain things. I get a little bit more stressed out because I just get frustrated with humans sometimes. So he keeps a lot of stories from me. So I guess he needs to.
We'll start with the guy with the gun.
Yeah, start with the guy with the gun. Okay, so number 1, the name of this
Well,
one is.
actually, there have been several folks with guns.
Okay,
but
well, we're
go
going to go
ahead.
with this one particular. So number 1, guy with gun. So if you like this story, yeah, there you go. So go ahead.
No, I'm gonna let you tell it. You saw it. Let me let you tell it.
Okay, so we have a Ring doorbell, as I think a lot of people do these days. So we have a Ring doorbell. We don't have any cameras on the inside, but we have a Ring doorbell, and we have a camera out the front that just angles towards the walkway, and then we have a camera out the back to be able to see the garage door to see if people are coming in and out, just for security, not only for our property, but also for the guest in case anything happens.
Right.
So the Ring doorbell has been very comical. We've seen a lot of stuff.
And we're not even trying to watch this.
No, we're really not.
Only when something crazy happens.
In the beginning, I gotta say, we actually did kind of stalk the Ring doorbell a little bit, just because it was like a weird reality show or a train wreck. You just couldn't turn away. But then finally, we're like, I had to turn off my notifications.
Too much stuff going on. Too much other stuff
We
going on.
just had to turn it all off. So this was back then when we first started. It was the first few months.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we had some people drive in from out of town, out of state actually. This is very important. So they cross state lines. So here in Texas, you can get a license to carry. Okay, so it's very important that you know that he came from out of state, because if you carry a gun across state lines, even if you have a license in the state that you live in, it doesn't always mean that you can take it over state lines.
Reciprocity.
Yes, exactly. So this gentleman, for whatever reason, decided out of the blue to run out of the house with his gun in his underwear, because we see him running by the Ring doorbell in these like white boxers with like pinstripes on them. They were clearly underwear. They were definitely not shorts. And he's carrying his gun and he's running out past, and then we can see him go down the walkway and turn to the left and then run off camera, and we never saw him come back. So I don't know how he got back in. I don't know if he came in through the garage. I don't know what he heard, what he saw. I have no idea.
Maybe it was Bigfoot.
Right. But the crazy thing is that he never said anything. So he's running down the street in his underwear with a gun that he brought across state lines, and never said anything to us. Didn't say there was a problem with his car, which should have been in the garage. He should have parked in the garage, which I think he did.
Yeah, and oddly enough,
No
this
idea.
is not even a strange story to me.
Well, I think it would have been less strange if he would have been dressed with the runaround.
Here's another one. How about the frat guy with the puppy dog?
Yeah, so that's number 2. So frat guy with dog.
No, go ahead. you
tell
like
the
Hendrix.
stories.
You like the Hendrix.
Okay, so we have a no dog, no pet rule at our Airbnb. We're big animal people, we're dog people, but in our Airbnb, we don't want to have dogs because you never know who is going to be coming later that might have allergies. So we said no pets. So this guy comes in, he rents the house for like 6 nights.
Yeah, 6 or 7 nights,
Apparently
right.
he was in a fraternity at U of H. We're walking distance to U of H.
University of Houston.
University of Houston, sorry. And so no dogs. So you can see he's there. He's got 5 people in the house, which at the time was our max stay, but he's got friends coming in and everything else. Well, then we hear on the Ring doorbell again that there's a dog. There's a dog barking. And we're like, what the heck? Well, maybe one of his friends brought in the dog. They shouldn't have, but okay, whatever. We'll let it slide. We won't say anything. Then the dog stayed overnight, and the dog's still there.
You see him run out the run out the
and
house,
everybody
run out
that
the
was
front
there
door.
knew the dog's name. The dog's name was Hendrix. He was a little Teddy Ruxpin. I have a picture. I'm going to post it right about here. Anyways, a little Teddy Ruxpin looking teddy bear dog with a little frat jacket, little frat hoodie on, and everybody knew his name. Apparently, he's a very popular dog. So,
like Norm on
yeah.
Cheers.
So Troy calls up the guy and says, "Dude, no dogs." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Oh no, that was my buddy's dog. He's gone." Blah blah blah. Well, then Ring doorbell's going off all hours of the night, because this is before we turned off the notifications. Ring doorbell's going, and so 3-4 o'clock in the morning, after the guy said he was gone, dog's still there. He's coming out. He's barking. He's saying hi to everybody. So then Troy goes over.
Police knock. Boop 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 boop. Nah, I had to tell him some things, and he didn't. He wanted me to still believe the dog wasn't there. I, in no uncertain terms, let him know that the dog. I knew the dog was still there. Produced the dog. Come on, dog. Let's go.
Yep, and so
And Miss Puppy Dog Lover,
well, we had a choice. We either let him stay with the dog,
which we could have just put him out. Airbnb rules allow that you could have just had the guest leave at that point.
But at the same time, I didn't want to just put him out. He was there with friends or whatever. I mean, he was still wrong. He broke the rules, but I wasn't going to keep the dog there. Technically, the dog had already contaminated everything with his.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to clean it extra anyway.
Extra cleaning, but I wasn't going to let him get by on it, because he needed to know that wasn't right. You took advantage of us and you lied to us several times. It's not right. So I'm not going to make you get out, but the dog can't stay. So I made him bring the dog to me, 45 minutes away,
Yeah,
drive
30, yeah, 30,
drive the
45
dog
minutes.
over to me, left the dog at my house. I watched the dog for the other
5 days.
5 days that
Yeah.
he was there, 3 or 4 or 5 days, however many days it was. And then I made him come out and get his dog again. I know it's kind of crazy. Why would you take care of somebody else's dog? But I had already been fostering with a dog rescue, and I'd already had well over 100 dogs by this point.
Oh,
One more
Hendrix.
dog wasn't going to make a difference, but
Hendrix.
I was kind of doing it to prove a point that one, we're not stupid. We knew the dog was there. Don't lie to people and respect people's houses. Otherwise, there's consequences. So
He,
that's
he
kind
didn't pay us the $500 kennel boarding fee.
Yeah, right.
He did not.
He
Let
did
me
not,
stress,
yeah.
he did not pay anything.
We didn't even charge him extra for me to watch the dog.
Here's-
Dog loved our house.
Here's another one that the Survivor, the contestant off
Oh,
Survivor,
yeah.
Super Survivor, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Survivor.
But it
So
was like she was on the famous
yeah,
second go round.
yeah, we had
second or
we
third
had
go
a we
round.
had a contestant off Survivor. She was actually on there twice, and she stayed at our Airbnb. Well, she booked it through Airbnb, but she stayed there actually as a fluke because she booked another Airbnb, and that one she got over there, and apparently it was filthy, nasty, filthy. We were out of town at the time, and
Out of the country.
yeah, we were out of the
somewhere, yeah.
country, and we were coming back. I think the next day. Were we coming back the
Right,
next day?
something, yeah.
And we were going to block that night, but we didn't think anybody was going to book it, and so we just left it open, or we thought it was blocked, or whatever it was. So she reached out to us and asked if she could book it so late, and we're like, well, crap, somebody else just booked. Somebody else just left. The cleaners weren't there. We were going to block it anyway. So we told her, look, we would love to have you stay, but the house isn't ready, and it will be ready tomorrow if you want to stay. We thought that she was going to go, no, well, I'll just find another place. No, she booked a hotel room for one night because that Airbnb was so nasty. Booked a hotel room for one night, stayed there, and then booked ours and came
Right,
back in. So
right.
we got back from our trip because our cleaners actually wasn't able to go over there. I think they called in or something.
Right, it was next day. They were
And
able to go the next
so
morning
we
or
went
something.
by after we left. We got back from the hotel. We were in Jamaica then, I think. We literally left from the airport to our Airbnb for her to get it cleaned up, and that way she could check in. And so, but yeah, real nice lady, and it was kind of neat because I went back and found her on Survivor. I don't
Yeah.
watch that show,
How about
but
we could tell several stories about how dumb people are when they're standing on the front porch with a bag of let's say illegal substance, trying to take it in the house and saying, "Hey man, don't smoke this or don't smoke in front of the cameras." Different stuff they
which
say.
actually that leads us into guy with weed at Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. Go ahead.
Okay, so again,
I tell her these stories, and she.
you're not supposed to smoke in the house. Definitely no illegal drugs, blah, blah, blah. Well, we had a lady book our property for Thanksgiving one year. She liked it so much, she hosted her whole family. She got permission because it's supposed to be no parties or events without permission. But she did it the right
I
way.
think she booked it 3 years in a row.
Was it 3 years?
Yeah, I think she
well,
did it 3
year
years in a row.
two, she came back and she booked it again, which was great. We like, yeah, go ahead and come in. So we happened to check the ring doorbell. Well, apparently this guy walks up to the door, didn't knock or anything yet, but the motion sensor triggered him. He pulls out of his pocket a bag of weed, sniffs it. Like, it's your weed. Why do you need to sniff it? Like, right?
Quality. You
Close
gotta clarify the
Okay,
quality.
look, I've never smoked a day in my life. Puts it in his pocket and walks in. Troy's like, no, he did not. So he calls up the lady, real nice lady, and says, Mrs. So-and-so, this is Troy, blah, blah, blah. We don't allow illegal substances at the property. And she's like, what? What are you saying? Well, there's no illegal substances here. And what's really funny is as the guy was walking in, somebody called out his name. I don't remember what his
I
name
don't
was,
either.
but somebody called out his name. And Troy's like, oh, really? Well, why don't you ask so-and-so? Because Troy had heard him call. And she turns around. I guess she turns around because we got her on the phone, but I can only picture it in my head. Calls out his name. Boy, did you bring drugs into this house? And And she apparently, I guess he said like a look on his face, or he said something. She's like, "You gotta go." So she kicked him out of Thanksgiving and did not allow him to come back in. So just a little note to the story: don't bring your drugs to Thanksgiving if you want to eat, because he didn't get a meal that day, at least not from there. So you're telling the last one with the dude with movie, dude that makes movies. So that's number 5. So first we have guy with gun, frat dude with dog, survivor contestant, guy with weed at Thanksgiving, and now dude makes movies.
And so we've had so many different things. This is just a little condensed list of different things that have occurred over the years. But a guy checks in. He writes in his notes. I'm coming in to write a. I'm writing a book. I'm just coming in to loan time. I'll write a book.
Whole house, 3-bedroom house for just one person,
yeah,
which
to write a
almost
book.
never happens.
So
in
anyway,
my life.
long to kind of cut through it. I start seeing like a lot of people starting to come in the house. You see, they're moving equipment in and out of the house, moving equipment into the house from vans. So kind of cutting to the chase again. They filmed a movie there, not a strange movie, but a movie. This guy has made several movies over the years. You can look him up. I'm not gonna give him any credit or give him any information,
but like a
because
local B-rated kind
right.
of Houston.
And he
filmmaker.
filmed literally, and we thought initially just the front scene, the first scene in the movie, we thought was
Because it was
there
on the
because it was
trailer.
on the trailer. It's literally in the trailer.
There's a chick
dead
passed
body,
out
dead
on
body,
our floor in
dead
front
body.
of the yeah she's dead, passed out on the floor in front of our couch.
So like time later, I mean, of course he didn't ask for permission or anything,
No.
but later on, when I looked into it deeper, I actually saw that he had actually filmed like 4 scenes at the house
We're like,
in
that's
different
our
parts
bedroom.
of the house. Right. So
that's our bedroom.
that's something that you're not supposed to do. Of course, we didn't get paid. He didn't ask. He didn't beg for forgiveness. He didn't do any of that.
And the crazy thing, if he would have just asked,
We would have told him, yeah.
We would have said because we would have thought that was pretty cool. But of course, we should have gotten the movie for free at that point. But yeah, we would have thought that was really neat, and we could have told people about it. And but yeah, he just and from what it looks like with his films, he does this a lot, because half of it was filmed at our house and half of it was filmed at a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, so
and apparently that's what he does. He goes out to Airbnbs.
Believe me when I say those are just a few of the condensed stories of what's actually occurred there over time. It's interesting. I'll say that. That's probably, I don't know if we count that as a pro or a con, but it was certainly interesting.
It's definitely interesting. So that's it. I don't know if anybody's going to make it to the end of this video, but if you did, thank you. We had some fun making it. We got to do a little bit of editing, but this was our first couple video. I have done a few videos myself so far, but he got on board, and we're going to do this channel together, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. So please keep watching. We appreciate it.
Like and subscribe.
And so we're going to do a lot of videos on trips and travel. The one that's going to be coming up that's going to be really interesting is we're taking a one-way cruise to Spain. We're leaving out of Galveston.
Accidentally, but that's another story.
That's a whole other story. We'll talk about that later. But we're going to take a one-way trip to Spain, and we are planning on doing a daily vlog about it and talking about this transatlantic trip. And then once we get to Spain, we're going to be there for 6 nights before we fly home, and we're really looking forward to doing a lot of content.
The beautiful thing is we've both had long or fairly long careers in our industries, individual industries that we were in before and currently. And we got a lot of information that we'll be able to share, a lot of things that's going to help you go forward in your travel and some other things.
And the
like
things that we're doing to prepare for retirement,
Right.
the things we wish we would have known about before,
Right.
and our plans to definitely travel through retirement
Right.
in other countries. And on a budget. I'm all about doing things on a budget. I'm like, I want to travel more for less.
I want $100 steak, but I want to pay $20 for it.
There you go. There you go. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we hope that you have a great rest of your day, rest of your life. Yeah.
Life, huh?
Life. That's right. Bye.
I feel like this is like a jail interview.
Really? Is that what it feels like?
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, and I am. With a run, you don't know about rap.
Oh, no, I don't. Start over and actually do it.
Okay.
Okay, so you go first.
What does that say? How you doing? No, not how you doing. Hello, everyone. I'm Troy, and this is Robin.
Hi.
This is our introductory video to our new channel. We just started this. Well, okay. Clearly, pause. Pause. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. Never too blank. No, that's not. That didn't. Is this going? You running now?
I'm running.
Oh, okay.
I'm already running.
Okay. I didn't know you were running. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. I'm Troy. This is Robin.
Hello.
I'm drawing a blank. This is crazy to me.
Harder than it
Hold on.
looks.
That was a lot to not have any of that. Are you none of it at all?
Yes, I'm serious. This happens sometimes.
Hold on.